The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hi, I'm Alicia.
And I'm Stacy.
And we make Trashy Divorces, everybody's favorite good podcast about bad relationships.
Looking for something true crimey without the gore or the body count?
We've been churning out funny, feisty, feminist episodes since 2019. So if you're looking to put some scandalous stories told well into your ears this summer, check out Trashy Divorces, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Trust us, we've covered someone you love.
Or someone you love to hate.
Looking for these better days.
It is Friday, March 27th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. Major League Baseball opening day in the books. A rough start for Paul Skeens. 2 great finishes and 2 not-so-great games in last night's Sweet 16 action. We'll get to that and more here on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Going to be a quick pod. We did so much breakdown of the Sweet 16 over the last couple of days. We did one pod with Colby Marchio, who, by the way, had a free play winner up on betterday.com with Illinois plus the points, plus 2.5. Illinois wins outright against Houston. An absolutely embarrassing effort by the Houston Cougars last night. Final score in that game was 65-55. The game goes way under, but Houston had, it was 24-22 at the end of the first half, and then Houston had 26 points with about 12 minutes left in this game. Like, it was just an embarrassing effort from Houston. Had nothing to do with the sight lines in the arena. Like, this is the same building that they scored 82 points in earlier this season and shot 50% from the field. No, this was just bad strategy last night. Kelvin Sampson, I don't know what he was doing. I'm not going to question the guy. He's a Hall of Fame coach, but Houston got to the free throw line one time. They shot 2 free throws last night. That's it. They did not attack the basket at all. And watching the broadcast late in the game, you know, they're down like 7, 8, 9 at the end, and possessions are at a premium. And, you know, obviously they just want to run and chuck up a 3 and then do a quick foul. But then it was Sharp who kind of just attacked the rim and got a layup. And Stan Van Gundy, who's on the broadcast, is like, where was this all game? And that's when I tweeted it out. Yeah, where was this all game? They did not attack the basket. But I don't want to take anything away from Illinois. Their rim protection is great. Their size is impressive. What a great season it's been for them. What a great effort it was defensively last night. They didn't shoot that great themselves. Like, they were 43% from the field, 9 of 23 from 3. When it was all said and done, Houston was 9 of 32 from 3-point range. But Houston, yeah, just 2 free throws on the night. Rebounds, 43-34 in favor of Illinois. And it was just a really impressive performance, one-sided the entire way. Same thing for the Arizona game against Arkansas, completely one-sided. Arizona scored 109 points. Get this. They beat Arkansas 109-88 last night. Arizona made just 5 3-pointers. They were 5 of 8 from 3-point range, and they scored 109 points. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, that's right. They had 5 3-pointers and scored 109 points. Just an insane performance from the team that I have winning the national championship, and very happy that they won, covered, and advanced. Not happy that Houston is out, because I've been singing the praises of this Houston team playing at home all week. We did full previews of the Sweet 16 with, as I mentioned, Colby Marchio earlier this week, Joe Serralo as well, and AJ Hoffman, plus Colby and Jake Hassan did their Sweet 16 preview. It's all up for you guys right now, up on the Better Day podcast feed, and we've been sending out the plays and the breakdowns in the newsletter every day. In today's newsletter, we also recapped what everybody's plays were for the Sweet 16 games coming up here tonight. We'll get to those games in just a moment. Last night, though, we had one great finish, one really good finish. The great finish was Trey Kaufman-Wren's tip-in the closing seconds as Purdue got by the 11th seed Cinderella, for lack of a better term, Texas, 79-77, the final score. And then in the Big Ten battle, it was Iowa defeating Nebraska 77-71. Both of these teams shot lights out in the first half. They were a combined 14 of 25 from three-point range in the first half. At halftime, we gave out a live play to Better Day Premium members on the second half to go under 70.5. We also recommended if it was 70, you can play it. I would have even played it at 69.5. Well, whatever number you got, it didn't even matter. The second half naturally was much lower scoring than the first half, only 59 points scored in that second half. Iowa wins 77-71. Defensive breakdown for Nebraska late in the game led to a crucial possession there for Iowa. But now the Big Ten gets three teams. And we knew they were guaranteed to get at least one team because Illinois and Houston playing each other. But three teams now out of the Big Ten, with Iowa and Nebraska playing each other. But three teams in the Big Ten are now in the Elite Eight. There is the potential for two more because tonight Michigan State plays UConn and also Michigan taking on Alabama. So the possibility of 5 of the 8 spots in the Elite Eight belonging to the Big Ten. Why is that so massive? Well, the Big Ten has not won the NCAA tournament since Michigan State in 2000. That's right. 2000 was the last time a Big Ten team won the national championship, and we have the potential. We know that they're guaranteed at least one team in the Final Four because we already have another Big Ten matchup here in the Elite Eight, and that is Illinois against Iowa. I saw a stat online where it's just the second time, I believe, in the tournament where there's conference games in both the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, meaning like playing a conference opponent. So Illinois and Iowa guaranteed to have one Big Ten team in the Final Four. And then your other matchup in the Elite Eight is Arizona against Purdue, the 1-2 matchup in the West region. That should be a fascinating game, and hopefully we get Arizona in there, and we'll see if Duke wins tonight. We'll talk about the games coming up here in just a moment, and Michigan, if they can win and get through to the Final Four as well, because our largest investment that we made, or I should say my largest investment that I made prior to this tournament, was the bet that we talked about on the live stream, I believe it was, with Steve Fezzik a couple of weeks ago for our Better Day Premium members, and it was the amount of 1 seeds to make it into the Final Four. We bet over 1.5 1 seeds in the Final Four. At the time on MGM, it was minus 125. It then since shot up to almost minus 200. But that was my biggest investment, was the over 1.5 1 seeds to make the Final Four. Still alive, 3 1 seeds still alive here in this tournament. Let's see what happens in the Elite Eight. Tonight here in the Sweet 16, these odds courtesy of our friends over at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Duke, a 6.5-point favorite over St. John's, total of 141.5. Michigan, an 8.5-point favorite over Alabama, total of 173.5. UConn, 1.5-point favorites over Michigan State, total of 134.5. And Iowa State, a 4.5-point favorite over Tennessee, total there of 139.5. And still no word on the availability here of Joshua Jefferson for Iowa State. They call it a game time decision, but no official word on his availability. We will find out that later on tonight and see if that line moves as we get closer and closer to tip-off of the nightcap tonight between Iowa State and Tennessee. For a full breakdown of these games, you can listen to our previous episodes this week right here on the Better Day podcast feed. Like I said, we did a full breakdown with Colby Marchio, a full breakdown with Joe Serralo, a full breakdown with AJ Hoffman. We will summarize everybody's picks in the newsletter, so you'll be able to read that up on betterday.com, or if you are a subscriber, it just gets emailed to you in the morning, same time as this podcast gets released. And so the picks or the leans, plays, picks, whatever you want to call it, will be there in the newsletter from consensus of what everybody said over the past couple of days here with tonight's games. You guys know where I stand. It's St. John's and the under for me in this one tonight. I don't think anybody has disagreed with me on that. We've had a couple of disagreements with all these other games, but yeah, it is St. John's and the under for me in this game tonight.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA is heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hey, I'm Josh Spiegel, host of the podcast Lunatic in the Newsroom. If you enjoy journalism that drifts into mild panic, wild overthinking, and a guaranteed nervous breakdown, Lunatic in the Newsroom is for you. It's news like you've never heard before. The only newsroom with a panic button. You'll laugh, you'll cry, and gasp in horror as the show spirals completely out of control. It's not just news, it's emotionally unstable. Lunatic in the Newsroom. Listen today.
College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into bigger wins. With the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost, here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout, mixed spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then just apply your profit boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style. Now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/believe to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as a non-withdrawable Boost Builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. For Louisiana, call 1-877-770-7867.
Major League Baseball opening day was yesterday, and the day got started with one of the more interesting outcomes that I don't think anybody expected to see. Paul Skeens did not make it out of the first inning as the New York Mets roughed him up for 5 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Now, it wasn't all his fault. Was Skeens great? No. Was he off his game a bit? Maybe. Did his performance in the World Baseball Classic lead to his struggles here early on? I don't know. That's up for debate. Was he missing bats? No. The Mets fouled off a bunch of pitches against him. But his defense let him down, specifically Oneil Cruz, who misplayed a line drive / fly ball that led to a bases clearing triple. And then he dropped a fly ball in the sun that led to some more runs. So instead of the Mets maybe scoring 2 runs in that inning on, what could have been a sac fly and then a pop out, and then the score would have been 2-2, and Skeens stays in the game, 5 runs by the Mets in the bottom of the first inning, and Skeens gets pulled after just 37 pitches and 2/3 of an inning. He gets charged with 5 runs, and it's really BS that he gets charged with 5 earned runs, because he shouldn't have, because it was Oneil Cruz. That's really a play that a Major League Baseball player should make, but hey, the official scorecard ruled it not an error, and so the runs do score there. Well, Pittsburgh did have 1 error, but 5 earned runs were charged to Skeens there on that play. I agree with the decision. I really do. I agree with the decision to pull Paul Skeens there, because it's the first day of the season. And yeah, things were not going well for him. The 2 misplays by Oneil Cruz, 5 runs had already scored. At that point, could you come back and win the game? Sure. But do you want Skeens to put some unnecessary stress on his arm? Absolutely not. At that point, you knew that he was likely to get emotional because things were not going his way. His defense was not doing him any favors, and you just didn't want him to overdo it here in game one of the regular season. So I completely agree with the decision to pull him. Mets get the win 11-7. Elsewhere yesterday in opening day, Matthew Boyd looked anything but the part as the Cubs fell to the Nationals 10-4. So how about the Nationals off to a 1-0 start, a team that many, including myself, have predicted to have the least amount of wins in Major League Baseball. They start off the season with a win, 1-0 on the year. Hey, they're in first place, and this might be the only time in the season where they can say that. Brewers blew out the White Sox 14-12. Jacob Mizorowski, have yourself a day. The kid winds up striking out 11 batters in 5 innings. All in all, the Brewers struck out 20 of the White Sox batters in that game yesterday. Terrible start to the season for the White Sox. Orioles beat the Twins 2-1. Red Sox blanked the Reds 3-0. Good start by Garrett Crochet, who is a favorite for the American League Cy Young Award. Mike Trout with a homer as the Angels blanked the Astros 3-0. Tigers beat the Padres 8-2. It was the Phillies over the Rangers 5-3. Christopher Sanchez, stop me if you've heard this before. 6 innings for Christopher Sanchez with no runs allowed and 10 strikeouts, just 3 hits allowed. Christopher Sanchez is a quality start machine. It's 6 innings every time. You know what you're going to get. The 10 strikeouts was just a cherry on top. If he's like this for the entirety of the season, he will be a Cy Young candidate, and the Phillies will have a strong case in the National League. Elsewhere, the Cardinals, a 9-7 win over the Rays. The Dodgers were shut down for the first couple innings by Zach Gallen, but then they exploded in the bottom of the fourth. They go on to beat the Diamondbacks 8-2, and then the Guardians get a 6-4 win over the Mariners in Seattle last night. So all in all, overs, and we talked about this. We talked about this with Joe Cirallo. We talked about it earlier this week. The March overs were a positive trend. The March first game of a series overs were a positive trend. Well, overs went 7-3-1 yesterday. Favorites went 7-4 on the money lines. Let's take a look at the schedule for today in Major League Baseball. The Yankees and Giants are back in action after they had the off day yesterday after opening night. It'll be Cam Schlittler on the mound for the Yankees. Robbie Ray goes for the Giants. Up on FanDuel right now, the Yankees minus 124 with a total of 7.5 juiced to the over at minus 122. The A's are at the Blue Jays in Toronto. Kevin Gausman for Toronto. Luis Severino goes for the A's, and it is the Blue Jays minus 164, total of 8.5. Kyle Freeland on the mound for the Rockies in Miami against Sandy Alcantara. Marlins minus 196, total of 7.5. Royals visit the Braves. Cole Reagans on the mound for the Royals. Chris Sale goes for Atlanta. Braves minus 144, total of 7.5. Yusei Kikuchi on the mound for the Angels. Mike Burrows for the Astros in Houston. Astros minus 168, total of 8.5. Framber Valdez starts for the Detroit Tigers, making his first start as a member of the Tigers. Michael King will counter for the San Diego Padres. Padres minus 118, total of 7.5. The Guardians are at the Mariners. Gavin Williams for Cleveland. George Kirby goes for Seattle. The M's minus 180 with a total of 7. And Emmett Sheehan on the mound for the Dodgers as they host the Diamondbacks. Ryan Nelson starts for Arizona. Dodgers minus 210 favorites, total of 8.5. Couple of interesting games in the NBA tonight. The Atlanta Hawks visit the Boston Celtics. The Celtics a 4.5 point favorite. Total on that one 224.5. The Oklahoma City Thunder, who had their winning streak snapped by the Boston Celtics, will look to bounce back tonight as they take on the Chicago Bulls. And we talked about this. It's a great spot to back the Thunder. They're 19.5 point favorites in this game, but it's Thunder or pass. Like, I can see them blowing out the Bulls here. It is traditionally a great spot to back a team that has a lengthy winning streak snapped because they usually just get right back up on the horse. You have the possibility of maybe a Tankapalooza parlay if you were inclined. It would be the Clippers over the Pacers. We're going to price this out up on FanDuel. You could do Clippers over the Pacers. You can throw the Thunder in there over the Chicago Bulls, right? Just because they're 20.5 point favorites or whatnot. Let's see. You would do the Nuggets over the Utah Jazz, Warriors over the Washington Wizards, and then the Lakers over the Brooklyn Nets. That is a 5-leg money line parlay. Up on FanDuel right now, it is minus 160. If you wanted to throw the Blazers over the Mavericks in there, they're 10-point favorites. I don't really like that. I guess you could take the Clippers out of it. They're only 9.5-point road favorites. Well, if you do that, now you're at minus 350. So you got to throw somebody else in there in this Tankapalooza parlay. Hey, maybe the Rockets over the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 12.5-point favorites. That makes it minus 219. So I guess you're better off throwing in either the Blazers or the Clippers. I mean, really, the Pacers are the tanking team. So it would be the Clippers would be the team that I would put in there. Minus 119 if you make it 6 legs. Heck, we throw Portland in there as well. Now you're at plus 130. Now we're cooking with gas. I mean, we're not serious about this stuff, but there are people that are very interested in betting these Tankapalooza parlays. The NHL regular season is winding down, and I saw somebody on Twitter last night, and I forgot who it was, so I apologize for not giving proper credit, but they were saying maybe it's time to have a legitimate conversation about the Vegas Golden Knights not making the Stanley Cup playoffs. And they're right. The Knights have not been in good form lately. Still in third place in the Pacific Division, though, with 79 points, but they are in danger of falling out because the Kings are right there with 76, just 3 points in back of them. Don't look now, Seattle is only 5 points back with 74 points. So teams are still alive here in the NHL in the final couple of games here of the regular season. Here's what's on your schedule for tonight. Just 2 games. Red Wings are at the Sabres. Buffalo minus 155. Blackhawks visit the Rangers. New York minus 162. Once again, be sure to check out the other pods, the other episodes here on this Better Day podcast feed, because it's not just our Better Day pods that we had earlier this week with myself and Colby Marchio, myself and Joe Serralo, myself and AJ Hoffman, but also Colby and Jake Hassan did 2 episodes of their Off the Board podcast, talking Major League Baseball opening day, talking Sweet 16. So you want to make sure that you guys check that out. That pod also streams live when they record it, live on Twitter, live on our YouTube page. You can go back and watch the episodes on YouTube, on Twitter, etc. Make sure you're following us on social media at Better Day, at Better_Day on Twitter. You can follow the Better Day YouTube page as well. We're on Instagram. And the Major League Baseball Game Center is live. That's right. The Game Center is live. I forgot to lament about our loss yesterday. I decided to try a ladder challenge to celebrate the kickoff of the Game Center. And I said I'm going to pick one prop edge from the Major League Baseball Game Center to start the ladder challenge. And the prop edge that I selected was Bo Bichette of the Mets over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Every single player on the Mets went over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, with the exception of Bo Bichette. He had a sac fly RBI in the first inning, and then he went 0 for 4 for the rest of the game, including 3 strikeouts, terrible at bats, even though the broadcast was like, he had some good at bats. Why? Because he fouled off a bunch of pitches. If you watched the pitches he was swinging at, they were not strikes. The one at bat that really bothered me, and I tweeted this out as well as I was venting about that loss, was there were bases loaded and less than 2 outs. So just put the ball in play. You're probably going to get an RBI, right? Sac fly, RBI, whatever. Just get hit by a pitch and you get an RBI. Just take a walk and you get an RBI. Bo Bichette fouled off, I think it was 10 pitches during the at-bat. And I think it was a total 13 to 15 pitch at-bat, whatever it was. Anyway, if you go look at the StatCast and you go look at like the pitch chart, almost all of his 5 swings that he fouled off were pitches outside the zone that would have been ball 4 on 5 of those pitches. He could have walked 5 times in that at bat and cashed for us, but not to be the case. Anyway, I'm done venting about that. We move on to the next day. It is a very, very long Major League Baseball season, a marathon certainly, not a sprint. But check out our MLB Game Center. It is free for everybody up on betterday.com right now. You don't even have to be a subscriber. It is free for the public, as well as our live odds and score page, free for the public up on betterday.com. And then eventually the MLB Game Center will be exclusively for Better Day Insider and Premium members. To learn how you can become a Better Day Insider or Premium member and have access to all of our tools like the NBA Game Center as well, and all the databases that we have, you can click on the link on our homepage up on betterday.com. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA's heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Hi, this is Alex Kantrowitz. I'm the host of Big Technology Podcast, a longtime reporter and an on-air contributor to CNBC. And if you're like me, you're trying to figure out how artificial intelligence is changing the business world and our lives. So each week on Big Technology, I bring on key actors from companies building AI tech and outsiders trying to influence it, asking where this is all going. They come from places like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Amazon, and plenty more. So if you want to be smart with your wallet, your career choices, in meetings with your colleagues, and at dinner parties, listen to Big Technology Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.